Suluhu Hassan first came into office after the death of the then President John Pombe Magufuli in March 2021. She promised what she then termed as 4 Rs: reconciliation, resilience, reform, rebuilding. She lifted the ban on the media then, released political prisoners, revised the COVID-19 denialism that was widely spread in Tanzania, and extended an olive branch to the opposition in Tanzania. Which begs the question, Dr. Nicodemus, where did Samia get it so wrong?
Well, I think this in academic terms they refer it to as reform washing or cosmetic reforms in which were not, there was no consolidation of these reforms. So these reforms were quite cosmetic, if I may say so, because they lacked any institutional anchorage. Because you find that the critical issue in Tanzania is the need for a new constitution, a constitution that will see the vested immense powers that the president wields really are rethought, because what the current constitution right now is gives she's like the president is an imperial president. But also, if you also look at the electoral architecture of the country, is quite controlled by the executive. So you can see, in addition to what you have rightly put it, the disqualification of candidates, the disbarment of other political parties, and then the treason charges that are facing the main opponent, you can see that the reforms that she initiated lacked any institutional anchorage, which is very important in any democratic transition.
And one of the lead challengers, who is currently in prison, Tundu Lissu, then when she took office, she referred to him as Kakangu.
Yes.
That is welcome to the national table for dialogue and reconciliation. She has charged him with treason. He's in prison now for treason. His case having been delayed, and he didn't participate in the elections. What will Tanzania need to move forward from this?
Probably this treason case must be actually be ended as a first sign of if the president really is intended to really bring about national healing. But number two is there's been a lot of cases of critics being either abducted, disappeared, killed, which again raises very critical issues around human rights violation and governance issues. So moving forward, and of course, with the events of the past week, in which the allegations of killings and all that, it really is important that this has to be discussed in some form of national dialogue.
A national dialogue after an election in which produced a president who nearly won by 98%.
Yeah, that actually is what we say is the irony of it all, because most of these reforms and pressure were being pushed before all this happened. And of course, it is quite saddening that the government of the day and the ruling party turned a deaf ear to these calls for national dialogue, national healing and reconciliation, because the protests, to be honest, are a culmination of these grievances. So the irony is, and I get your point, that why would you then have a national dialogue after what really happened? So again, now that it has already happened, and the current constitution, unlike probably the Kenyan political architecture, in which there are some form or semblance of power sharing, or what people call broad-based government, in Tanzania that is unthinkable and unlikely because of the general political structure of the country. So going forward, I think serious national conversations around these critical issues that ail the country need to be discussed, and discussed with utmost intention to really bring about real change. Because again, the protests, I think, will were unprecedented. Tanzania has never experienced protests before, making it that this event will make Tanzania never like that again.
And we'll come to the protests and the